male and female fighters, in the grind like I always do. We're always working, trying to get better every day, seeing what opportunities arise for them. You know, the
So
sport, the sport is not, unlike a lot of people, civilian or casual fans don't understand. It's nowhere near as glamorous a business as they think it is.
and I totally understand. Boxing, they say it's a business. So when the politics blends with business, it can get a bit dirty, so to speak. How long have you been training fighters? My understanding, you do train boxers and mixed martial artists, correct?
Yes, I do. I have been the boxing coach in the past for some high level MMA, well known MMA fighters. Independently, not working and necessarily for an MMA house, but they've contracted me. Um, a lot of UFC fighters, some Bellator guys in the past, even the guys that are more on the coming circuits that are coming up. A lot of those are owned by the UFC, anyways. But also in the bare knuckle scene, I got a couple bare knuckle fighters. I've had a bare knuckle champion,
Okay.
BKFC. Um,
Who
so
was that?
been around the game. I've had national amateur champions, and I've worked with several pro world champions and top 10 contenders throughout an over 20-year career. I've been very fortunate to be around excellent athletes,
Yeah.
um, who trusted in the help and the guidance. At the end of the day, is for them anyways. You know what I mean? Like
Correct.
we, yes, we rely on their well doing, for our livelihood. So we sweat with them in the gym and we work with them in the gym and for a small percentage and hope to go through the journey with them. Like I said, a lot of people see the big fights and the big situations and don't understand that all the coaches across the world, a lot of times, I would say probably, man, 80% of them never see that. Never even see, I've been really fortunate to have been, you know, on all the major networks and to been in main event fights, and across the networks, title fights, and to been part of those teams. I should say that
Mm-hmm.
clear to be part of those teams, and being crowded arenas across the world. I've been in 13 different countries, and it's amazing. It's amazing for the athletes. It's an amazing atmosphere, but again, probably I could be shooting high at 20%.
Yeah.
Other coaches who are grinding every day ever get um, near that. So, I'm thankful to God. I'm thankful for when I was an assistant coach or the coaches um, that allowed me to be part of those teams. Um, I'm thankful for all the organizations that made that happen, the fighters. Now again, even being as a head coach, I've been sort of even partner coaches. Sometimes people get as head coach and they have too much ego to be like, I'm gonna be go half and half with somebody else, or
Yeah.
help some. And even as a head coach, every now and then I've been asked, hey, um, could you work the corner along with this other head coach? Be an honor for this, or to have your advice in this fight. I've even done cut work, um, because I was the guy coming up that always wanted to learn what everybody's job was.
Yeah.
Advisors, managers, promoters. What do they do? Who the TV network people are. What does a cut man do? And I started from like all the way, like I said, volunteering, coaching kids, and winning amateur championships. To being that fourth guy in the corner, to being a little bit more important assistant guy, to sometimes being the cut guy, and trying to learn, and everybody has their position. Sometimes we see in say like in football, right? You got guys that are great assistants, guys who, but they don't really, they're not really cut out to be the head coach. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, I played my roles, and I was fortunate, like even in when I started working many years ago for John David Jackson, he told me someday you'll have your own stable of fighters. I was loyal, his loyal assistant for many years. I had a lot of wonderful experiences with him.
Hey, with that experience, we have a lot to unpack. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate breaking it down and giving people kind of backstory as to how long you've been in the game and what you're about. Um, let's get straight to the chase as far as unpacking what's has since went viral there, Coach. Um, Multi-time world champion. First of all, before I even get to her, I want to know your process as far as the sparring goes in your gym. How does the communication go for you to have a sparring partner come in your gym? And once that sparring partner is there or fighters coming to your gym to spar, what is your process?
Well, let's make this clear that that issue that we're about to talk about did not happen in my gym. We
Okay.
were go to their gym, and I did that to help because of my relationship with the people who asked, and with John, my past relationship with John.
And you mean when
But
you say John, you talking about Shields coach John David, right?
correct, correct.
Okay.
And so the thing is, when you have people even come to your gym, I'm not with that hoopla stuff, man.
Yeah.
Like all that, like you go to some gyms and you see, like, man, people arguing outside around the ring, they're hooping and hollering. Like the fighters are sparring to get work and to get sharper and to listen
Mm-hmm.
to the coaches. Like, I understand that the masses are going to say they're entertained by that, and what they see nowadays. But like, I take the job seriously, and I don't, and I think most coaches would admit to the fact that, man, you just want good work. Just get
Mm-hmm.
your in there good work. You don't want them to get hurt. Um, you don't need fighters fighting, like literally fighting. I've been in some bad incidents where we've had to break up, situations and I'm like, man, from day one, I never signed up for anything like that. And I know a lot of coaches don't like that. It
Mm-hmm.
ruins the work. You're not getting anywhere if you have a melee in the ring, two fighters fighting, and everybody's got to break them up. You know what I mean? That doesn't serve anybody any purpose. I know that a lot of people, like I said, from the outside, just a morbid curiosity. They're like, oh, hey, look, fight broke out. Great. It's not great. It's not great for the fighters. It's not great for the coaches. It just stops the whole process of what you're trying to accomplish to begin with. Now, when it comes to women sparring, because I've coached a lot of women too, you got to understand that the pool of fighters is not big enough, right? They've made so you can go back to 2015. Women fighting was still kind of like features here and there, right? And
Yeah.
you had great pioneers that fought back in the days, but even they didn't have the women now really have um, come a long way. The promotion that's good. I give Matchroom a lot of credit. They're promoting a lot of girls. You know what I mean? And Golden Boy has done some of that too. But Matchroom's been ahead of that. Um, and they're getting opportunities and they're getting on cards like never before. So that's great. I've always been an advocate for that. That's great that they're getting respect and opportunities for being the fighters and courageous. And honestly, they're going in the ring just like a man, so they can get hurt. And unfortunately, I believe it was last year we had a young lady, maybe it was in Chicago or something like that, one of those shows that she passed away in a fight. So they're subjected to the same uh, trauma and situations that the men are. Just they're just facing women, but anybody can get hurt in a match, right? And unfortunately, in that case, catastrophically, fatally hurt, right? Um, so usually, when it comes to that, you have to try to find, if you're not fortunate enough to have enough women, or close enough in the weight classes for them to work. Um, you have to either find another woman that's bigger. I've had to do that with Marine Shea. I train Marine Shea. She's a 122 pound, 118 pound fighter. a high level former champion herself. Um, for example, I've had to get, bigger girls to spar her. Sometimes guys, bigger girls, and I'm, you you try to get them to understand that, hey, look, you're, 20, 30 pounds heavier than this person. Let's just work. Let's do good work. Let's not, you know, get nuts in there and be putting in power.
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes there are some men that don't know how to work. They just don't. And it doesn't make sense. They'll go in there. I've seen other coaches. I've seen sparring between men and women where coaches have pulled out men and been like, "What are you doing? You're banging her out. What are you doing? What do you think you're doing? What part of your ego is doing that now?"
Let me ask you this right quick, Coach.
Yeah,
Like, I understood, I heard everything you said about, you know, your process in the male and female, sparring and what you expect as far as, their behavior and so forth, or sportsmanship in the gym. But when you have, like you said, the females don't have too many sparring partners. The depth is very shallow in selecting them to get females that's their weight or whatever. Sometimes they have to get the males. So in this case, we know that Artur's um, Ogmendorf, I believe that's his name, um, he fights at lightweight. Carissa
yeah.
Shields fights at middleweight.
Mm-hmm.
So how did the communication go? You said John David wanted you to go over there and get work. He's a
Well,
much lighter fighter. He's a much lighter
they were
fighter.
looking for sparring, and it wasn't John that called me. Actually, I got the call on behalf of John, but it was Elvis Crespo, who's a boxing executive manager, who called me and said, "Did I have anybody?" And I said, the only person that I had here was this Arthur, who was fighting at 135 pounds. Now, you know, he was probably walking. He was never too big, so he was probably walking, 140 something pounds, and
Okay.
which is very normal. And she was probably at the time walking, and which is very normal. Maybe, I don't know, in the 70s, 170s or whatever, 180, which is very normal. That's not, anything. In fact, fighters walk around generally, some of them way more, but I'm never comfortable with my fighter walking around more than 12 to 15 pounds when they fight. But you see
Yeah.
guys, are 20 pounds over what their fight weights are. But in that instant, they called and they said, okay, well, let's see, can you bring him over? And which I did. And the first time they sparred, contradictory to her claims, where she says she whipped him,
Mm-hmm.
um, they just worked. They
Did they know
wasn't.
each other, Coach? Did they know each other prior to that sparring
No,
session? Okay.
no. I don't have any relationship, not prior to that nor after that, with
Okay.
with her.
So the
Um,
first sparring session, it commences, and how did that play out?
I barely remembered until, I asked the young man after she, when he first, I guess, people have said that she's been talking about this for a long time, whatever. Various fighters have said she's mentioned it. Um, we never talked about it. It was an afterthought for me. Never,
Right.
never mentioned it. Never said anything about it. The video, which I don't even have the video anymore, um, but whoever had the video, that happened 5 years ago,
Right.
and nobody spoke about it. So if people, you have some people that unfortunately don't really think with common sense, and they're like, oh, they're trying to get clout. What clout? What does he stand? He doesn't even fight anymore. What does he stand to gain? I have my career. I have my fighters. I'm doing okay. I,
Yeah, his
been
last fight was like 2020, right? Something like that.
2018,
Okay.
October 2018, and I didn't even remember that. I had to go back and ask other witnesses to get that information. So to me, it was a, kind of an afterthought. I asked the young man, I said, can you please send me anything you have? He says, Coach, I went into the iCloud and all I have is this little bit of film from the first barn, and then this, whatever, right, was there.
Yeah.
So he sent it to me, and you could even see in the first one that they were just working. It was I even thought that they were kind of I thought that they had gone at a more maybe a more higher pace level. And looking at it, it was good. It was good level work. But in that first video, he was wearing. I assume he grabbed them from here from the PAL because they were Green Hill amateur safety gloves. They're very padded. It's a brand that's only for amateur like sparring and stuff like that.
What would you compare the ounces to with that type of
Not
glove?
ounces, but they're just very padded. The ounces of gloves and the way they're some of them are designed. Even the pro gloves, you can see the difference, right? In
Yeah.
between the difference in the pro gloves and the fight gloves, they're still the same ounces. A pair of 8-ounce rivals and a pair of 8-ounce, for example, Everlast Power Lock could look completely different. They weigh the same though. Legally, the way they put the padding in certain areas of the gloves or whatnot, um, different gloves are like that. That's why you get these, people be like, I like this glove better because it's better on my hands. I like this
Yeah.
glove because it's better for defense. I like this glove. Like Reyes, right? They were puncher's gloves, but people didn't like them because they were cut narrower. Some people didn't like them because they were like, oh, I can't defend well with them because they're smaller. You know what I mean? They still weigh the same. They
Mm-hmm.
just the padding is distributed in different areas. Um, so in any case, and in the second sparring, he was just wearing a pair of regular lace up, which, well, getting back to my point from the gloves in the first one, right? I didn't even remember that. So I looked at it and I'm like, no, no serious fighter, whether he's about to turn pro or pro, wears those gloves for any kind of sparring or anything. So
Mm.
that's one. Two. And the second one, he was just wearing a pair of regular 16-ounce Mundo boxing gloves, lace-up gloves.
So
You know.
who checked those gloves before? Because the speculate. I mean, the accusations and everything. So
So hold
so you
on.
what? Okay.
Let me stop right there. Nobody
Okay.
checked gloves before. I don't even know what she's
Okay.
wearing. Her gloves looked like they were like whatever it was. It doesn't matter. But
All
nobody
right.
questioned. Nobody. I didn't ask her what those lace-up things that she looked like. That it looked like 12 ounces. Nobody asked her.
Okay.
You know.
I got you.
And so like what
So it's
happened was,
mutual, like always.
yeah.
Stepping in the gym,
And
mutual.
listen, again, I had that video the full round, and they after she gets up, and me and John are both like, "Hey, walk it off," blah blah blah. They touch gloves, and they go back to work. And like I said, she gave that sparring was more spirited. She was throwing, and when the bell rings, they touch gloves again. Now let me ask you something. That's also uh, according to her and other people in the third round. I didn't even remember exactly what round it was, right?
Yeah.
So if you sparred somebody that didn't have any padding in their gloves,
From the
you
first
didn't.
round, right?
Yeah, you didn't feel that in the first and second round,
Exactly. You
or
would have
through the,
felt it.
or through
Yeah.
the whole third round to question or say, hey, can you change your gloves? Because I've gone to gyms actually where some coaches have said, hey, instead of 16-ounce gloves, we want to wear 18 for whatever safety reason, right? And
Yeah.
they'll be like, is that okay? And I'm like, yeah, if you got them, because we don't have them. Normally we have like 16-ounce gloves. So if you got them, we'll put them on. Yeah, all right, whatever. I'm not combative like that, conflictive
Hmm.
like that. This is sparring. Sparring is for work. Sparring isn't for winning.
So the
You know what
first
I
two
mean?
rounds with the gloves that was allegedly without any padding, there was no knockdowns. You said it was pretty decent work, but not up to the tempo you would
Yeah, it
have
was
liked.
spirited. It was more spirited than the first one for sure.
Okay.
And but even with that, you could see there was demeanor. Like I said in that round, there's points where he's backing off of her, and back
Yeah.
and I don't say. Let me be real clear with this. I don't say that and to discredit her at all as a fighter. You
Correct.
understand something? She's a machine. There's a reason why she has to spar guys, and things like that, because she's better than there's not women in that, especially in that weight class, who can give her the work. You know what I mean? Uh, that being said, we're not. Look, it's not. You don't have to be a Rhodes Scholar to know that man's strength, right, and women's
Yeah,
strength, and it's just not in any way demeaning of women. That's just like natural understanding, right?
correct.
And
I mean,
so
I understand you're being
I
polite
gave her
about it.
I gave her credit always for being a boxer. Obviously, anybody can make their own decision about how they feel about her personality or how she carries herself.
Correct. Yeah,
Uh,
I get it.
that's a completely different story from saying uh, what you are in the ring. You know, there's two different things. Um, so, given that, anyways, uh, her
So
story.
when you say, Coach, the third round, right, was much more spirited, you're pretty much saying, she picked up the punch output.
Wait, he was throwing, he throws
What
good.
were the minutes? Was it
He
3 minutes or 4 minutes?
no 3 minutes.
Okay, 3 minutes per round. Okay.
Yeah, no. So, and even that, most women, you can. I don't want to. You can pick and choose how you want to train, but all my women spar 2 minute rounds because that's what
Right.
they. So it's more like a pace thing, you know. I mean, kudos to her. She's strong and can throw and wants to do 3 minute rounds. And anybody, my thing with that is not that you can't. My thing is that it's like why you fight 2 minute rounds. Like spar what you fight. You know what I mean? So that you're
Yep.
in that
Yep.
tempo. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion when it comes to women's sparring.
So when that round came up and he landed the left hook, from what it seems like from our point of view on the outside looking in, you say the round was spirited. What happened when he landed the shot and she fell back? What was that conversation? What was that mood like in the gym at that moment?
Well, first of all, there's a bunch of witnesses. Uh, Second of all, you can see, and those witnesses uh, are more than willing to attest to what happened that day. But you can see uh, my demeanor, everybody else's demeanor. I'm the one that goes, "Oh no,"
Okay.
that's my voice. Prior to that, also, um, again, my legal people have this video now, but prior to that, I can just explain to you that they're working. There's a moment where she's in the corner and he's throwing some shots and he's kind of throwing shots at her head, and you can hear me say, "Hey man, work the body, hit her body, work the body." And he was throwing some long distance shots, and then he just backs out, and that's the point where she walks out and she goes, "Is that all you got?"
Yeah.
Which is whatever. She's allowed to hype herself up and say whatever she wants to say. Fighters sometimes do these things for their own psyche when they're sparring somebody. But I mean, like, if somebody was really trying to hurt you or trying to, prove what I would call a stupid point in a male and female sparring, um, they would stay all over you, wouldn't they? They'd stay punching you. They wouldn't just back off you.
Correct.
You know. Um, Prior to
Plus, he
that,
was he was there to give her work. He wasn't there to beat her up. He was just there to give her work.
yeah, but what happened was that second sparring, there was a lot of smack talk prior to that too. There was a lot of smack talk. She was working and talking a lot of smack, but that's not. I kept telling Arthur's like not to worry about that. That's just I don't like that. If my
Yeah.
fighters are doing that, I tell my fighters don't do that. That's just for me. There's no point in that, right? Just do your good work. So when my fighters start to talk, I usually say something like, hey, man, come on. We're not, stop doing that. When they come back to the corner, I'll be like, focus on your work, not on your mouth. You know what I mean? Whatever the case may be or whatever, there's no point in that, right? Anyways, again, to each his own. She could psych herself up and say whatever. So before that point happened, they get wrapped up a little bit. You can hear me say, "Hey, don't." I'm telling him, not to grab her head, but apparently then they twist, and then it kind of looks like she's got him in a headlock, a little bit sort of coming to our corner, and and then we're all like, hey guys, hey, easy, easy, and then he falls, and then the video goes black because I'm standing in the corner and I'm like telling, fixing his gear, his groin guard and whatnot, and I just said, you could hear him though talking. He's like, "Hey, coach, what's going on here? What's like, like he didn't sign up for that either." You can see, like I said, we have some parts of the first sparring too where the demeanor wasn't like that. There
So
wasn't.
what it seems like, coach, is that you have a certain level of courtesy that you stick by with your fighters, whether it's in your gym or whether you're visiting somebody else's gym. And then when
100%.
it
You always need. Listen, first of all, you shouldn't be disrespecting anybody's place.
correct,
Second of all, you this it doesn't make any sense for this is my opinion because I've seen a lot of coaches burn themselves up, right? Where they're not liked, they're not, and I know they would be liked, but just out of respect. Sometimes you need work, you need sparring, sometimes you need to go to places. So you're gonna act a fool and then be told like, no, we don't have any work for you. We don't, we're not gonna help you. You know, we're not gonna. I've worked my whole career not only spreading goodwill, but just being a gentleman character and understand. I've had fighters of mine complain like, "Hey, they're doing this," when we've gone to other gyms, and I'll be like, "Hey, don't get caught up in that." And one and two, you know, it's respect. It's their gym. You
did
know.
you when she had him in the headlock, coach, Arthur, when she walked him, I guess, to the corner in the headlock, did
It,
anyone want to check, to see if the gloves was anything? Because it seems like they was having fun. It seems like so much fun to the point where she wanted to get him in the headlock and walk him to
well,
the ropes and so
you
forth.
know, they got wrapped up and I think he was trying to go like under and around her, and she was trying to turn. I don't think that was even fighters do that sometimes when they're trying to spin each other around and trying to get. I wouldn't even say that that was of any kind of at the time any kind of malicious intent. You,
No,
some
I'm not
fight.
saying malicious, coach. I'm just saying at that time it seems like they were still sparring, and it was pretty much focused on sparring because sparring can
Oh,
get
sure,
rough.
sure,
You know
for
what I'm
sure.
saying?
The sparring was fine. But that was my point. That then we get to where I'm fixing his gear, and he's like, "Hey, what's going on?" Because he's feeling uncomfortable now because obviously, her psyching talk, whatever the trash talk, you know, he's thinking, "Hey, we came here to help her, and she's talking trash, and it's getting, to him it was getting uncomfortable, right? In the
Mm-hmm.
sense of all like, hey, I'm just here helping, and now, it's getting a little rough in here and a little, I didn't come to do that. You know what I mean? And
Did
I'm
her
sure.
coach say anything? Did her team say anything? That
No, not at
when
that
she
moment.
was
But
okay,
but they weren't endorsing that either.
cool,
Let me
cool,
make that clear. They weren't endorsing
cool.
that either because when they got wrapped up, everybody was like, hey, So it wasn't like they were
That's
endorsing that.
cool. Yeah.
Um, so they go back. Oh, so when he says to me, "Hey, what's going on?" This and that, I'm like, "Hey, man, don't worry about it. It's okay." I'm like, "Just work, man." And you could hear it clearly. Just work, man. And they go out. She threw, a hard punch with intention. He rolled and he threw a left hook, which was his best punch, and he hit her right on the end of, at the edge of the chin that we all know is a pressure point. Anybody can get
Yeah.
knocked down. See, it's funny because well, it's not funny really, but after she decided to make all these videos and all these things, then she made a secondary video where she's like, "Well, I don't need to be embarrassed because fighters get knocked down." That's right, you don't.
Well, hold
But
up, coach. Hold up before you get. We're gonna get back to that.
yeah,
All due respect, but what I wanna try to find out is that when he landed the left hook, right, and she went down. Okay, I
mm-hmm.
understand the videos is out there, but when she went down, um, what happened? Did she get up immediately? Did he help her up? What was the conversation from her
So
coach?
there was a few seconds where she was there, obviously gathering herself. That's understood. He takes a couple of steps away from her, like going to the corner. I pointed at him to go help her,
Okay.
to give her a hand to come up. Right. He goes over and walks to her to try to help her up. She pushes him away and says, "Get away from me."
Mm,
She said, "Get the
okay.
F away." Really, what she said. But anyways, he backs off. She gets up. She's walking. Maybe this is it was this whole thing was maybe no more than 10 seconds, right? Between the time that she drops and this happens, right?
Yeah.
Uh she gets up, John, you hear John say, "Walk it off." I'm saying, "Yeah, walk it off." And she didn't take too long. She maybe took another, I don't know, maybe another 10 seconds went by, and she was like, "Okay, started ready." They touched gloves and they start to spar again. And then it was probably like maybe another 15, 20 seconds maximum that they sparred in that round. The bell rings and they touch gloves again.
So they touched. So
And
they was able to re-engage in sparring after the knockdown. I was getting the impression, Coach, that after she was knocked down, a whole melee ensued as
oh
far as
no.
the question, if he had no padding in the gloves and everything else. So you saying they sparred again after she got up for the knockdown?
And it continued after that.
Hmm. I'm a
So
bit puzzled
yeah, it continued after that.
because I think the masses, so to speak, I would say whatever the consensus is, they're looking at these videos as if, yeah, she was knocked down, and then once she got up, she said, okay. One video she said she ain't never been dropped before, whatever the case. I'm not here to throw Carissa Shields on the bus at all. All I'm trying to figure out is that if she was dropped and the guy who did it is being accused of having gloves with no padding in it, then you're telling me that the sparring session didn't even stop after that. They
No.
touched gloves again and continued to spar.
And she's admitted to that too.
But the impression I think that a lot of people are getting from videos is that it was no more sparring after that, Coach. It was
Well,
all out chaos
no, no, no.
with the gloves somehow being hidden and who inspected? Okay, so hold up. Let me process this. So basically, she got up. They continued to spar. How many more rounds did they spar after that knockdown?
I didn't remember. She says she initially said she did another 4 rounds, which I think like I just on when she was going back and forth with me on the internet, and I was telling her respectfully, I didn't post this, but in any case, I was telling her, you did this yourself. You kept talking about it, and the kid felt a certain kind of way, or whatever, right? So she claims there was another couple rounds, and I was kind of like, yeah, I remember you continue to spar. Now the witnesses said that it was just another round, so I guess an extra round.
What did Artur say?
Well, I
What?
didn't. I didn't ask him about the amount of rounds after.
Okay.
What I asked him was, I did ask him initially because let me preface this right here. I had to say this. When this came out and she was going back and forth and she starts with the threats and she starts telling me that she's going to get me banned from boxing and all this and that, right? And I'm trying to talk
Mm.
some sense to her. I then tried to reach out to her manager, Mark Tafford, and I was like, "Hey, listen, I had nothing to do with the clip of this being posted, but she's saying all these things. I think at that time she had not gone out and spread, tried to take a flamethrower to my career. That was the day
Correct.
before, and I was like, if you could talk to her, I don't want any issues and whatnot, whatever, blah blah blah, and look what she's saying here. This isn't cool,
Mm-hmm.
In any case, the next day, so then I was able to get in contact with Arthur, who lives in Europe, and I said, hey man, I was like, look at this. Why you cause this? His response was, and so I don't know if where he heard it from as many times. At that point, I hadn't even seen the interview that she gave at Canelo and Charlo.
Okay.
So we're gonna get to that in a second. I had not seen that, and he's like, "Oh, I'm tired of her talking trash, and the truth is on our side. Champions should be honest, right?"
Yep.
And that's what he said. I said, okay. I didn't say okay, but I was like, okay. Then here comes the next day, and she's out there doing what she said she was going to try to do. And then I start getting.
And what you mean by that? What she was going to try to do? Ruin your career?
Yes.
Okay.
Which she said so, and I had documentation of it. And so then, you start getting inquiries and questions. And I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Really, really, it's crazy in this day and age, man, that sometimes media runs with things and they post things without even asking, without even countering. Because a lot of the videos she did, like on Fight Hub TV, they never even asked me. They never even reached out to me for comment, right? Women's Boxing Network wrote that I should be ashamed of myself.
Mm.
And I thought to myself, like, wow, like everybody was taking this for it. Now, we're going to get to this interview that she did because somebody sent it to me.
Hey, that's a wake-up call, ain't it, Coach? How loosely media put narratives, biased narratives out here to ruin
No
people's
credit.
lives.
No, it's not the same. Back in the days, you used to have to, like check your sources, and at least extend the courtesy of asking, right? She kept on and on. Anyways, so I finally I'm like, let me see this interview that she gave.
Let me let me play something before you get to the interview.
Yeah.
Because I have a little clip of what I think you talking about per se. But let me play this right quick.
No, but the guy I sparred, he was like a little Russian hater. He took the patent out of his gloves. I had whooped his ass on a Monday, and his coach wanted us to spar again on Thursday. But he caught me, but he didn't have no patent in his gloves. He know exactly who he is.
Damn.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, but so even before that part, she's telling part of the story that you didn't play there was where she's telling how it happened.
Okay.
Right. First of all, we did not ask to spar. We went over there to help her. Okay. Upon request. Secondly, she wrote, and I had to be clear of this because I think I misspoke in another interview and said she said, but she actually wrote that I had hidden the gloves in a bag and that I tried to be slick about it and whatnot. Then she said in an interview that she grabbed him by the gloves and walked him over to John David Jackson, and that they caught him cheating. And that's how she knew the padding. Well, none of that happened, first of all. Then there's a part where she said, oh, and then he sparred the other guy. Well, he sparred the other guy first before he sparred her with the same gloves on.
Okay.
Okay.
What weight was he?
He's a welterweight fighter.
All right.
By the name of Harold Calderon. And he also did not complain at any point about it.
Okay.
He just
there
did
was
the work.
Knockdowns in that fight. I mean, that sparring
No,
session.
they just worked,
All right.
Only thing I remember Harold saying at the time was that he was a little tired because he did strength and conditioning.
Okay.
It was after. It's Clarissa standing to the left of me. John is sitting on the ring in front of me. Elvis Crespo is sitting to the right of me. I don't know if it's her husband or her boyfriend or whatnot was in the gym, I believe. Cutman Daniel Roland was behind me, and she starts talking about that she can't believe that happened. She's never been knocked down in however many years, and what she said, and blah blah blah. And then she starts talking about to go get the gloves, and that she thinks that we were cheating and whatnot, right? The gloves were sitting on the ring apron on the other side of the ring. I tell John the gloves were right over there. She tells John to go look at the gloves. John grabbed them, looked at them, saw they were 16-ounce gloves, saw they were Mundo Boxing brand gloves, and there was nothing wrong with the gloves. But she kept on saying that,
So just to be clear, Coach, John David, who's respected boxing
yeah,
trainer in his sport, he was
yeah,
the first to inspect the same gloves that Artur sparred her with, right?
yes.
And he basically said they was what they were supposed to. They met, the specs and everything. So what happened? What happened? What did he say once he inspected the gloves? Did he give them to
No,
Carissa?
just sat there, and he was like, she kept saying that I was cheating because whatever, maybe she felt that the padding was harder on those gloves or whatnot, but she just kept saying I was cheating, and I kept going back and forth with her saying, "Hey, listen, I respect you.
Yeah.
You know, you're a great female fighter. You're the world champ. I wouldn't do, I don't do those kind of things. You know what I mean? You know what? They take the doctor gloves anyways to take the padding out of the gloves. Never mind that on the video, if you zoom in, you can clearly see the gloves are padded, right? Because there's a big difference when gloves don't have padding. You would have to go inside. Think about how a glove is. Go inside, cut it, take out the padding, redo it or whatever, and they would just fall and float. We had an incident like that, unfortunately, in professional boxing. We go back to the Louis Resto
Yeah, Billy
fight.
Collins.
What
Yeah.
happened? When you see those gloves, there's an indentation in those gloves. There's literally no padding there. You can tell the
True.
difference, right? And so I even told, like I said, the other gentleman was there. I said, "Hey, man, I would never, do that to your girl. So I don't know what she's talking about. Um, and again, the gym was full of people. There's witnesses, so it's not like. So
So
that's
outside of John David and Carissa Shields, was there any other energy given to Carissa trying to say that you all tried to imply that you all was cheating, or just stayed within her and her coach that she was conversing back and forth with
there's
him?
a
Hey,
there. This is not private.
oh,
The
this is
gym
just
was full
open.
of
Okay,
people, all kinds of witnesses to this.
okay,
So this is and you can see it in the video. There's all kinds of people in the gym. So I think that's another thing that the masters are missing. They're acting like this was some kind of private sparring session that people could get away with. Maybe he said, she said. This is not a he said, she said. I got a ton
mm,
of witnesses.
okay,
This is not a he said, she said thing. You know what I mean? Um, as a matter of fact, there's one person that says that John said it had nothing to do with the gloves. She just had her chin up, her face up, which happens sometimes with fighters.
right.
You get caught with a good shot. Now, so the story that she says that Roberto Durant gifted me the gloves. I've never met Scotty. I wish. When I was a little kid, I saw Roberto Durant party. My father took me to. I wish as an adult I could meet Roberto Durant because I believe he's an all-time great, and I'm fascinated by his skills, even his knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another fabrication.
That just came out of nowhere. Roberto Duran, Mexican to Mexican, whatever. I don't know, man. Where did that even come from? To be honest, like how can you link up Roberto Duran with you?
I'm not sure, Scotty, but the alleged knifing issue, right?
Okay.
So the knifing situation, which she proudly keeps talking about, or she talks about it proudly. I'm not whatever that's about. I wasn't aware that was happening at the time. When I'm there, I was not aware of that at all. I came to find out about that a couple of days later, maybe a week later, when again Elvis Crespo, who's the boxing manager, told me, hey, you need to watch your back a little bit. You know, um, this is
After the sparring had already days went by, you're being told you need to watch your back.
correct. And I was kind of like, what? Now, was kind of shocked and stunned at that incident, or just the thought of that, right? But I thought they had it under control. It was some, John talked to her, or whatever, and
So, coach, hold up. What do you mean the incident? Like, how did the knife incident even happen? Is it, from what I'm hearing, allegedly she
she
supposedly went out to the vehicle or something?
she says she went out to a vehicle to grab her knife to stab me and the fighter. And some people are saying, well, stab and knife, or what's the difference between knife him and stab me and stab him?
Correct.
I'm not understanding what the difference is between that, but she's been saying that. She said that proudly on several occasions. So, and it's in video. It's recorded, documented, right? So what I'm saying is, I left. I was told, hey, just get out of here, before it's any trouble, whatever. And I left. And I wasn't even aware of that. I was then called later and told, you need to watch your back because this almost happened. And I guess John, talked her down off the ledge or whatever and said, hey, that's crazy. What are you doing? I know this guy. And, he's not that guy, first of all. So, don't do anything crazy like that, In any case, so all of that.
Wow.
Now, let's fast forward a couple months later. I'm here. Demetrius, Andre would sometimes have training sessions here at my gym. We're friends. Everything's cool. His team. And there's a night where they're supposed to come and work. And I'm here waiting for them. And she walks in the door. He had invited her. She walks in the door and she just looks at me. And I look at her and I go, can I help you? And she goes, oh, Demetrius told me I can come. I said, okay. Because those training sessions, are usually private. And I grabbed her a chair. She seems to forget that, like a gentleman, and told her, okay, here, you can sit here and wait. I didn't have any other interaction or any talking with her. She didn't say anything to me other than that, you know what I mean? She spoke to the people, she spoke to their team and everything. So the whole training session went down and she was there and nothing was out of an ordinary training session, you know what I mean? There wasn't any animosity shared between me or her.
Who was Demetrius sparring? Just one of your
No,
fighters?
no, he wasn't sparring. He was training.
Huh?
I can't remember, but I don't think he was sparring somebody. I think he was training.
Okay, he was just training. She showed up with him because he gave her permission.
There was a training or sparring. Either way, it was a night session here at the gym.
Okay, got it.
So, in any case, and then that's like literally maybe the last. I think I've only ever seen her once at an event. Other than that, I saw her once at a gym in Fort Lauderdale, Warriors gym. I had taken two fighters to spar down there in their gym, and John was training her down there. I'm guessing for one of her fights. She saw me, I saw her. I just kind of did a little head nod, and there was no words spoken between each other. She did her training, and I wasn't even there for her training. We finished the sparring and I just left. You know what I mean? Out of that, there's never been any other communication. There's never been any trash talking. I've never tried to discredit her, but I will stand up for her attempts to defame my name because it went across the world, and people were like, even one of the coaches that works with me, he's from the Eastern European bloc. They're like, hey, you work with this guy? Is this true? And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Because now you're starting something where people are actually believing that, because taking the padding out of the gloves to intentionally hurt somebody
It's
That's
malicious,
a
man.
criminal act.
Yeah.
And that accusation is disgusting, especially when it's false. That's very damaging. And I didn't sign up for any of this. I didn't sign up for having to watch over my shoulder or to have somebody try to take a flamethrower to my career. So that's
So
that.
so so with me assessing this coach, right, based off everything I've heard outside of this interview, and for what you told me, someone who was actually there, and also the positive aspect of it, you have witnesses there that actually train fighters and do the same thing you do.
Several,
Now
not
I don't
many.
quite understand how defamation could be levied against you because no one was talking about this until this interview came. I mean, to this video drop, right?
No,
It
no.
wasn't.
But the defamation of character is going against her now. I'm going to I'm going to pursue defamation of character because of what she did.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. Like it was someone in my chat talking about, defamation of character. I'm just like, you got the roles wrong. Like most of what I'm hearing is coming from Shields to you based off what cannot be proven. I haven't heard John David come out here. I haven't heard any of her team come out here and say yes, that's absolutely true what went on. And
Well,
then
because
hearing you break down the timeline doesn't even add up to what we've been hearing out here on the videos.
here's what's happening. I've worked a long time, and I'm just a humble coach, man. I've worked a long time. Like I said, I've been fortunate. I was faithful, loyal assistant to John David Jackson. I would never advocate anybody doing that, not to a male or a female fighter. I'm not going to do that to somebody I work for. On
Right.
top of it, but beyond that, here's the situation. It's not okay to, like she said, I'm going to get you fired from boxing. My livelihood.
Publicly, she said
I'm
that.
I'm a family man, a father, a grandfather. You're now planting a seed across the world that, hey, this guy's a bad apple, don't work with him. And we know that they're in this boxing community and MMA, combat sports, sure, there's bad apples. I worked really hard at never being that guy and always having respect for the fighters and whatnot. And when you have somebody who has the platform that she has, who's a popular world champion, and she starts to spread malicious lies about you, and you could see at the beginning, there's all these people saying, oh, he's a dirtbag. Oh, this is terrible. And there's the swell of people that are just blindly believing her made up story and accusations. But
I'll be right
so
back,
now
coach.
I
Keep
had to
talking.
defend my name.
I'm back.
Okay. So now I had to defend my name because I'm getting questions from Ireland, Russia, England, all over America. Thankfully, in America, especially in America, and in Latin America, people know me. Like they legitimately promoters, managers, fighters I haven't worked with know my character. So thankfully, I have their support. Um, so I had to defend myself, and I'm not going to do it like with baseless things. I'm just going to let my legal team, my legal counsel handle it and defend this young man because he also didn't wear loaded gloves. So, or padded out gloves or whatnot.
And I'm gonna go on record too. Is as long as I've been covering boxing, it's never been, like every gym have their protocol coach on whether to record or not. Usually it's like, okay, you walk into a gym, automatically can you record? Now this is not that because recording isn't illegal when it comes
But
to
but the
boxing
other part to
sparring.
that
You
is
know what I'm saying?
the other the other part to that is people are going around going, "Oh, that's weak that he posted it
They
5 years."
don't know who posted it though. They
Uh,
don't know if you posted it.
no,
Um,
apparently that I'm not even 100% sure of that.
I'm talking about the general public. The
Yeah,
general
but
public until
yeah, like
now.
I'm guessing the young man posted it, but with the editor or whatever, right? But the whole point of it is people are like, "Oh, it's weak and whatnot." Wait a minute, he's not debating. That went out for 5 years. Nobody spoke about that except for her. Nobody wore that as a badge of honor.
Correct.
So it's like, and it's an incident. Again, fighters get knocked down, male, female fighters all the time. You can go through all my social media. You never see me posting anything. I don't even like to post sparring, but whether it's good or bad or knockdowns, I don't like that. I remember one time a couple years ago, two of my male fighters were sparring, and one of them, now mind you, they got full nose guard headgear, so you can't even see their faces. But one of them had a good 2 or 3 series of combinations, and they posted that clip without the other fighter. And his stablemate called me and said, "Coach, what is this? That's not fun. That's not fair."
Yeah.
And I called him and said, "Take it down." I said, "That's your stablemate, man. I know you did well. Like, but I get it. You did well, and but you guys are friends. You guys are stablemates. You guys." And he was like, "No, you're right. I didn't think about that." He just wanted to showcase. He was like, "The only reason I posted it was because you couldn't see who it was." You know what I mean? So he
Right.
thought it'd be okay to post it, and then he thought about it. And he's like, "No, you're right." You know what I mean? So, but in this day and age, you see a lot of that going on too.
I
And
mean,
I'm
you see
like,
more fighters posting sparring, especially
yeah, and
when
when
they're
they're beating
getting
up
off.
other guys, and I'm thinking that's again the morbid curiosity, right?
Yeah.
But man, it is disrespectful. That guy,
How has this affected you since this all went viral and everything, and like you said, you received backlash from it. Um, does it
well,
affect you moving forward on how you gonna run your ship? You run your gym, run how you do things, even if you visit other gyms. Are you gonna change things up, or what's the deal?
well, I've always been the guy who works with goodwill, man, and respect, and that's not going to change.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll say is, yeah, at the beginning, because I thought this is a day and age where you got this crazy cancer culture and people aren't double checking facts or truth. And I was like, this woman's trying to ruin my career, intently trying to ruin my career. And so that the nerves of that heaviness, I remember the first day I didn't sleep. And I just kept thinking to myself, like, what? I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe this person is trying to, like, especially when I tried to be like cool about it and respectful. After that, man, I prayed on it, man. And I said, okay, but it's not okay, for the principle of the thing. I'll say this to anybody who's out there. Imagine somebody, whether it's your family life or your work life, goes to your job or goes to your house and just does some blatant lies trying to burn down your family life or trying to burn down your job, right? Is it okay? Is it okay? Or would you, even for the principle of the situation, defend yourself? And I thought about it. I said, you know what? I'm just going to defend myself. I'll let the legal matters handle what they have to handle because it's not okay. You still got people running around. I guarantee you at this moment, there's people running around, blindly believing all the lies still.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, you can't control um, common sense. You can't control ignorance. That you can't control what people say or do. But I can defend myself, and that's what I plan to do.
Well, what I can say, Coach, I appreciate you. At least allow me to let my audience hear your side of the story. You've always been an upstanding dude. You know what I'm saying? Ever since I've known you. And when this first broke, First I was like, okay, who is this again? They said, Coach Santos. I said, nah, that's not even his character. He's not that type of guy to go up here and be instigating a sparring session or go to the extreme. And then I started looking up the fighter that was over there. I said, this fighter haven't fought since this time. And, his only loss is to Rolando Romero. I said, no, this just don't make any sense. That's why I reached out to you, because
And
I
now
had no indication. I said, I was telling my people, I say, there's no way that he would be the one trying to instigate a situation as serious as this. It just makes no sense to me.
no, it's not. But that's the thing. She didn't have any consideration for that. She didn't have any consideration for my career or me. So I'll just let the powers that be handle that situation. That's what a lot of people aren't thinking about. I actually got a message from some common fan today who sent me a message, and they said to me, "How dare you do that to her and like go out and speak the truth? She's just a girl. It doesn't matter that what she was saying." And I thought to myself, no, that's where you're completely wrong.
Is she a girl now or a
Yeah,
woman? Because you
yeah,
call her a
yeah,
girl,
yeah.
it's gonna go all bad. Come on now.
It's well, that's what's like baffling about um, the the ignorance of some people out there. Where I'm like, you don't have to like me. You don't have to be a fan of any of my fighters, um, or vice versa. But the truth stands for what it stands. Like to blindly follow somebody lies and to like just both it and I'm pretty sure that person doesn't even know her. That's the other thing, because a lot of people in their fandom world, they don't know the individuals that they're talking about. They
Mm-hmm.
don't have any relationship, whether they're on one side or the other with the individuals. They're just saying stuff, and we got to understand this. I know there's trash talking about saying this and that. I'm not talking about that. Like, this is what's sad about society today. It can go like brush fire, and
Yeah.
people just start like a mob following something with no fact checking behind it. And that's how you get people. Yeah, some people, they deserve to be canceled, whatever. But there's other people who don't, and it's just like it's crazy what's allowed to be sort of not allowed, but I should say sometimes just accepted by our society today as like, oh, it's okay, just brush it off, you know. And it's not, man. It's not. People say that until they're in a position and they're getting, when you're getting blatantly lied upon,
Mm-hmm.
that on around the world. Imagine from a person who is a famous worldwide athlete. Imagine the kind of damage that causes, because people just out of their sheer fandom and maybe like they follow an athlete, they say, okay, whatever Clarissa Shields says is 100% true. Whatever Alex Rodriguez says is 100% true. Whatever. That's dangerous.
Very dangerous, man.
It's reckless. Um, and that's why like I said, this is now the principle of the thing. It's based on principle. Now I'm not in any way trying to discredit her as a fighter. I've said it before a million times in a lot of places. Wish her well in her career. I don't need to though sit or do a kumbaya with her, because guess what? Who would trust a person that would be in that kind of that took that kind of malice towards you?
Mm-hmm.
That there's no reason for me to have that kind of energy anywhere near around me, or even just to bump fists and be like, my bad.
I mean,
You
at this level is no
know,
my bad. You know what I'm saying? The
whenever,
damage is out there.
whenever people say things like that, I just tell them, put yourselves in my shoes, right? Put yourselves in your own shoes. Put yourself in your own shoes, and somebody's done that to you, in an attempt to take a flamethrower to your career. Again, would you just be like, it's okay? Or would you stand up and defend yourself?
Well, you never should be hesitant, especially when it comes to you as a, your own character, defending your character, but also your career and your family and everything else goes along with a situation like this. There shouldn't
I'm,
be no hesitation to defend yourself.
I'm like I'm saying, a lot of people could say that coach is no good. In terms of his coaching ability, I don't like him. You could personally say that. I think this coach is better. I think that coach is better. I think that coach is better. Anybody can say that. I just brush that off. Like, who are you? What have you accomplished in the sport to say that, you're better? There's a lot of armchair quarterbacks out there that do that. And those kind of things, those kind of just word of mouth have never bothered me. This is a completely different situation. And people need to, anybody with common sense can understand that.
I sat up here and listened to you say that you felt that you had to watch your back, or someone inferred that you had to watch your back, right? Only because of the so-called woman or the female or the little girl may have felt some type of way to potentially allegedly cause you harm. But can you
Well, I
imagine?
wish that
Can
wasn't.
but check this out, coach. Can you imagine if that was the other way around? You being a boxing coach with everybody that's been in your gym, right? And the experience that you have, if someone was saying that it was told to Shields that she should watch her back because you had went out to the car and lost your mind and you was trying to brandish some type of weapon to go in there and harm her, it would be over. It would be wildfire, like you said. It would be
Oh yeah,
wildfire.
be headline news. I never, even when I heard about it, I never ran to the press and said, "Hey, last week Clarissa Shields was going to stab me," or had a plan to knife me, according to her. I never ran anywhere and said anything about that. Again, she's the one talking on it. She's the one that
Right.
spoke. Like, it doesn't even make sense, and like it's kind of like she brought that on herself. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? I never wanted to be involved in this mess, but I've been dragged into the mud now. The other thing about it is, why is it okay for me to have to, or it's not right, man. I shouldn't have to be like now worried. There was an incident, and again, I'm not saying she was ordered this incident or whatnot, but we do know that there was an incident at one of her events with
Flint.
talking things, and
Yeah.
and the other coach was attacked, an elderly coach at that,
Yeah.
and sent to the hospital. A guy cracked his head open. Like, I don't even recall a statement where she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry that happened." Um, I don't recall that. Maybe I don't know if she ever did or didn't, but I don't recall that. I just do remember that, and so that sits in the back of my head, and I'm going to myself like, "Wow, this isn't cool. I didn't sign up for this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a gangster, man. I'm a boxing coach. I've coached young men and young women in the police athletic leagues for over 12 years. I coach women and men to try to reach their goals in the professionals. Like, you know what I mean? I, this isn't, I know they say that boxing is the wild wild west a little bit, because there's not an umbrella commission and whatnot, but like, I'm not a gangster, man. I'm just trying to be a good coach. I'm trying to make a living. I don't have any interest in that. And so, like, that's another thing I got to sit with now, because you also have these crazy fans who might think, oh, on behalf of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
on behalf of her, well, I'm gonna go punch this guy and sucker punch this guy, when he's at an event or whatever. And that's traumatizing to me. I'm sitting there thinking about it, it's in my mind where I'm like, I don't know, events, am I gonna be like head on a swivel and wondering, when somebody, listen, I was always the guy that would, take pictures with people if they asked for one, or gave anybody want an interview or whatnot, or even just a question. And I'm like, do I have to think that a person was coming at me or asked me for something or whatever out of the blue? Because that's, as good as I do, that in the combat sports world, that happens all the time. Everybody wants to be like, whether it's have a chat, just like a nice chat, whether they want to ask you some advice, whether they want to take a picture with you, if you've done a little something in the sport, been there, done that, they want that. And that's all cool because fans pay tickets, man, and media. I've always been cool with the media because the media also, they give you a platform, they help your career, like there's no reason for me to be jerked to the fans or the people, but now I gotta sit back and think like, do I want to do that anymore? And I'd like to think that I can forget about that and get it out of my head, and be able to, just give a fan, if I'm walking with a fighter or whatever, and just be like, hey, can we get a pic?
I would say this, Coach. If you walked around in life based off one incident that influenced you to not be the genuine person that you are, then you would be doing an injustice to who you truly, how you truly move as a person. If that's your character, that's your integrity, and you have a total belief in who you have faith in, you know what I'm saying? That's all you should worry about. Don't let one person, based off an incident that happened that many years, stop you from being who you are and moving as you are as a person. Because like I said, I never, got that impression from you from day one when I had interaction with you. I never. And it stuck with me. And you even helped me out. With some things back in the day. So don't ever feel that you got to walk on eggshells based off something that you didn't have no influence. And everything that you're telling, lining up as far as the sparring section, saying back off and all that. I heard that in the video. I didn't know it was you, but it's good to have those pieces put together now to have a better picture. But don't slow who you are. Don't take yourself away from who you truly are.
That's the other part of it too. You see people out there commentating saying that, like, what kind of a coach am I to send him like after her, in a sense, like in a sparring to hurt her or whatever. First of all, she can handle herself. Secondly, I don't think I've ever seen any videos with any man just going full out after her, but I didn't either. I would never do that. And like I said, it's clear in the video I'm not doing that because I was vocal in the video.
Well, I thank you for getting your word out, speaking your piece. You know what I'm saying? Allowing people to hear your side with integrity. And I hope, this goes the way it's supposed to, because you're defending yourself is what you're supposed to, man. No hesitation, no hesitation about it. You know what I'm saying? You're a good person. Continue to move as you are. Those around you understand who you are as a person. And once again, WCS, appreciate you pulling up, Coach, and talking to me once again. And I'm trying to stay in touch as much as possible on this. And I wish you nothing but the best moving forward.
Thank you. Yeah, man, I'm just, once this is handled, hopefully 2024, I know will be a good year for the women that I train. The men that I train, I got, 4 women right now that I train. I got several men that I train. Hopefully, this last year went okay, but, hopefully it keeps going on up and up trajectory. My squad, I love the people on my team, man, just the fighters. It's an actual team. It's not like fighters are just coming in the gym and they're just doing it for themselves. Like all the guys, I tried to make sure that when I did go take that next step as a head coach and get my own stable, that I would always cultivate that, the idea of that. I used to talk to fighters. I still do. I mean, like when they come and they want to train, I try to get a sense for their demeanor, what I expect out of them, what they expect out of me. You know, where I tell them, hey, sometimes, you know, you got to change your training times because this guy needs sparring, that guy needs sparring. You know, sometimes, you know, but I'm here for you as much as I'm here. And I like for them to support each other. And I got a good base of that, man. I got, you know, in the past, I had worked in situations where you had high level fighters who didn't like each other, you know, training in the same team and squad. And I never really understood that. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you can't support your brother or your sister. Come on. You know what I mean?
True,
Like,
true.
we're all on our own journey. And so I got a good mix of that, and everybody that now, you know, that helps me in the gym. You know, I have Coach Smith, Coach Brian, Coach Artem. You know, they you know, all my partners. You know, because without them, you know, um, I spent a lot of years trying. You know, a lot of times doing everything by myself. You know, training the whole stable and things, and it takes a team, takes a community to be successful. You know, I love those guys. I really sincerely appreciate their help because, you know, I can't do everything by myself. You know what I mean? And they had the right demeanor too. There's no egos about, you know, one of them is better coach than the other or knows better than the other. You know, everybody's just here for the success of the whole team. You know, and I'm very appreciative to those guys. You know, all the members of the DS Boxing family.
No doubt. I'm saying, hey, don't let it get you down there, coach. I know, you know, it's gonna take a time for this to filter, all get out to the public. You know, hearing your side of the story, but I think you're gonna be all right in this, and you know, absolutely do what you have to do legal wise to defend your name, defend your character, and everything else that goes along with who you are as a person. Don't no hesitation. Defend yourself. You know what I'm saying? Isn't that what they teach in the art of war, the art of
Yeah,
combat?
yeah, that's
You know
true.
what I'm saying? I mean,
That's
come
true.
on, man. This is just it's a lot of foolishness in this, but like you said earlier, you can't underestimate social media right now because a lie can travel a long ways and the damage can be extensive, man.
It did. I was really surprised. Like I said, it was just really shocked at, you know, how quickly and how far it went. So here we are, you know, and like you said, I'm not really a confrontational person, but I will defend what's right and what's
Yeah,
honest. My integrity, I will defend that.
no doubt. Well, I appreciate you
Thank you, Scotty.
dropping in as always, coach, man. Salute to you. Any final words you have to say to your supporters that's out there, family, friends, or what have you?
No, just like I said, man, you know, for everybody out there, just, you know, man, when anything comes out as rumor or things, man, you're entitled to an opinion and to a thought process, but, you know, please learn. Let's not make statements that are like fact when we don't know that they're fact. You know, I give that advice out to everybody. Do not make statements that are fact when they're not. When you don't really have any proof behind that. Um, Beyond that, man, you know, thank you. Listen, the boxing community, I think it's getting, you know, better boxing. You know, I'm hoping for more opportunities for all level fighters, for the young developing fighters, for the coaches that are sweating, trying to make, you know, trying to get that guy to the next level and trying to make it happen. You know, a lot of coaches out there have, you know, another full-time job beyond this because this is not, like I said, it's not, we're not out here all making, you know, six figures. It's not the case at all. Um, and you know, just thank you for the support from the community, for those that I do know, for those that I don't know that, you know, have taken the time to just either send me, you know, random messages or just had the common sense to put two and two together. I appreciate that across the globe. Thank you. God bless you all, and I wish you all well in your endeavors.
Hey, no doubt. Thank you very much, Coach. Coach Derik Santos on deck, man. Thank you for dropping in. Appreciate you.
Bye bye.
A big shout out to the hottest chat in the game. As always, everybody who pulled up. It's unfortunate. Real talk, it's just unfortunate because this whole situation, you will hear people talk about, man, it ain't worth talking about, but it is worth talking about. Because, man, people have been up here complaining about, you know, attitudes and how people are treated in person. I myself, this ain't my situation. This ain't my situation. But I've had a situation with this person. That doesn't affect me and who I talk. I've tried to, as a black man, support this black fighter. I've tried at one point in time, even though, like I'm saying, it has nothing to do with this. I've tried, as black people do, they say, oh man, support your own and all that. This is one of the greatest female boxers of this era, right? It's unfortunate she has to get this much notoriety based off information that's being disseminated that she can't prove. You know what I'm saying? This is not what you want. You want people to talk about you as far as your accolades and everything. You know what I'm saying? That's where you want it to go. You want it to be about your accolades, not something that potentially could have been on the first 48. It's not smart, man. This is like, yeah, you have some real bad situations out here in boxing. It's been some fighters who actually get into it in the street. You know what I'm saying? It's been situations that could have been talked about, but we're talking about in hindsight because stuff has already been taken care of, and now that person is ruined their life for years. You know what I'm saying? Coach mentioned the situation over there in Flint. I mean, it just gets stupid. They always tell us like, is it really that serious? You know what I'm saying? Is it really that serious to say, okay, you're in the sport of boxing, you've been talking about fighting male boxers, you fight a boxer, get dropped, and then continue to spar him some more rounds following that knockdown, and then all of a sudden he puts the video out, and the impression that people got is that it wasn't no more sparring after that. It was just you got knocked down, and then the gloves was inspected and everything else, and all hell broke loose because it was some cheating. I mean, when you lie on people, man, it's just disgusting, bro. It's just disgusting. I'm not taking nobody's side, but I do have an understanding that instinctively I can determine what's the truth is. It's not like I haven't been in gyms. That's why I asked him what his protocol was to kind of establish, how he go along with sparring. But it wasn't even in his gym. It wasn't even in Coach Santos. He went over there to help another coach. Everybody know John David. He went over there to help him out. John David, no way, shape, or form, gives me that vibe at all that he's that type of coach. Low-key type of dude. I'm serious. Low-key as it gets. You know what I'm saying? Does what he's supposed to do, man. Never gives you that type of vibe that he would co-sign something like this. And I don't think he's doing it now at all. I just think it's one of those moments where this video that Arturos had put out has went viral, and you have a person saying, okay, you're going to put defamation out on everybody who posts this video. Well, good luck with that. Good luck with that. Real talk. Good luck with social media. Fair use. Somebody put a video out there of you and somebody else in a public place, and all of a sudden you're threatening the whole community and people who actually support you. It's just individuals like myself, content creators like myself. We just want to get to the bottom of it. That bottom can pretty much assist you, and it assists Coach and his fighter. It allows it to be balanced out in public, bro. For both, the ones who's on this side and one on that side, to come to a conclusion as to what's truth and what's lie. But if you're gonna go out here and coach's story is drastically different than what we're hearing out here in the public, Jesus Christ, man. The depths that someone will go through, I can understand why someone want to change the way they move. I get it. It happens all the time. I can understand why somebody want to change, because people love running with lies these days. And when you have a lie that affects someone's personal life, the person who initially sparked it, put it out there, should be punished with the amount of severity as if they was the one that actually did the lie themselves. As if that lie was something that was physical and harmful. You know what I'm saying? That lie should be, they should be prosecuted. You know what I'm saying? Because the amount of damage that you can talk about somebody and spread can ruin people's lives. It's been to the point where it just goes far and beyond. But when I say prosecuted, I'm talking about prosecuted in the viewership and the perception of the general public. Because once the general public that consists of human beings, right, they should be able to say, let me decode this. Let me process this information. Let me see what's good and bad. And we do have humans that would do that shit. But also we have the ones that just want to get along, goddammit. Oh, man, he did it. They don't even know Coach Santos from nowhere. They don't even know who he is. Never been around him. So who can they connect to? Oh, let me correct. A lot of y'all that's sitting up here pushing this narrative and stuff, you're not even mature enough to say, okay, let me clear my head a little bit. What happened? Come watch this live stream to give you better clarification. I saw those individuals in the chat trying to come over here and talk about defamation. A lot of y'all had to look it up on Google to understand how to spell defamation. And then when you found out how to spell it, you had to look up the definition. Because you've been hearing, and let me make sure I knew what defamation consists of now. You're up here talking about defamation. When Shields is the one that's putting out the information about knifings and gloves being tampered with and all this other stuff, what's defamation? It's stupid. Y'all just put that information out there just to get a reaction. Well, how can somebody that the accusations is being levied against be accused of defamation if the verbiage is from the sender? The verbiage is from the sender. You know what I'm saying? Come on now. The verbiage is coming, the accusation is coming from the sender. It's not the sender's like, okay, he has his mouth closed, he ain't saying nothing. This is just what he's thinking internally. No, the person that is actually speaking and introducing that information is the one that should be punished. You know what I'm saying? Period. That's just the way it is. It don't make any sense. But appreciate everyone for pulling up for this live stream. Of course, you know what I'm saying? Every now and then in the blue moon, I'll pull up like Machiavelli, you know, and go live outside the camera. Let me read some of these. Carissa is embarrassed that why she's lashing out because you talk all that. I can be the man, and you got put on your buns, and now you're emotional. That was another thing that, you know, hearing Coach say that she was offside the apron or whatever, conversing. That's natural. Like if something happened to you in sparring, even guys do it. If they get dropped and they never been dropped, you know, they stand themselves, how did that happen? Why did I let myself be put in that situation or position? I'm better than that. So that seems natural. The converse, like go back and forth, like you're contemplating, like, what did I do wrong? You know what I'm saying? You're trying to replay it back in your head. That seems natural, hearing him say that that's how it went, you know? So if she wanted to fight the guys and all that, and Coach made a good point that the reason why she was fighting the guy, because she needed some work. Okay, cool. But then when a video comes out like this and you're getting dropped, you just go all in to thrash somebody and not think about how you're going to ruin their lives, man. See, you getting dropped in that video is not going to stop you from getting a fight. That's sparring. Fighters get dropped in sparring all the time. That's a format that goes in sparring. But when you're saying removing the padding, now think about what you said, removing the padding. Panama Lewis and Luis Resto did prison time because their gloves was impounded that night. The promoter for that fight was Top Rank. The commission for that fight took the gloves and inspected and found out the gloves to be tampered with. These gloves right here, man, whatever those gloves were, with all the Roberto Durant gifted and all this stuff, like, it comes a time where people that go to these gyms and really stay close, if by chance you was hit with something from someone, you know, this fighter, from someone, and you say to yourself, that's not natural. That's not natural. You know what I'm saying? Because sparring partners can be on anything. Sparring partners, you know what I'm saying? And it's certain protocols people don't talk about in sparring, where these fighters go ahead and lace up and they get in there and spar. But to get hit with a shot like that and continue to spar and be told that, you know, once you was insinuating that the gloves might be tampered with, they're checked and everything and nothing comes from it. There's a great deal of concern here, a huge deal of concern. When we're talking about all these black men that's locked up and imprisoned because of making impulsive choices based off a lie. Scotty has said this, and I'll say it again to my people. If you want to see someone get locked up and be guilty of committing a malicious act against an innocent person, just tell them a lie. Just lie. Because my people are quick to jump to conclusions based off a lie. Everything else can be going good for you. And then all of a sudden, a lie is placed out there. Nobody wants to do no research the way they're supposed to do the research. So y'all want to run with a lie and then come back and say, my bad? No, it takes more. You know what I'm saying? It takes a lie. The reason why I'm making a point, because I've been living long enough to the point where I can make this point. You know, if a person was making the accusation and a qualified individual such as your coach examined the gloves, examined them, and found nothing wrong with them, but yet you still want to push it? You still want to push it that no, I ain't been dropped in a long time. No. You know, Hannah Gabriel dropped her in the ring, but in sparring, no, I've been good. Man, you call yourself the greatest woman of all times. So therefore, when you get in these sparring situations, this ain't new for you. You ain't a novice to this. You go in there and you do what you have to do. You get dropped, so what? But outside of that, someone put out a video because they felt that you was saying something or whatever. I don't know. You say he was a Russian hater. I really don't care about that part. All I care about is the entire situation where you was knocked down and you kept sparring the dude. You was knocked down and kept sparring, and you wasn't knocked down again. You was a bit more careful. You tighten up a little bit, tuck your chin. You know what I'm saying? Was a lot more responsible in your exchanges, right? But for somebody to be told after a qualified coach that you trust, say nothing's wrong with the glove, you need to keep your chin a little lower. For him to be told he need to watch his back because somebody was going out there to potentially commit bodily harm after the incident was said to be okay. The gloves was okay now. The gloves was freaking K. From a qualified profession, say, I can inspect this right here. You don't need to call the manufacturer of the glove. You can get your coach. Coach, go check those gloves out. And he's saying it's not even it wasn't even a private conversation. It was public. So you're talking about everybody listening here. Boom. Check the gloves and everything. Check the gloves. Nothing ain't wrong with the gloves. That ain't good enough. So you wouldn't have throw away your livelihood and go in there and stab another man when he got family? Not only just that, he has a career. Not only just that, but he has every right to defend himself. But yet you don't think what happened to you, it's not good enough for him to defend himself. He pretty much said, no. His defense, you know what I'm saying? Innocuous, minimal intensity to it. Because when a person know they have done nothing wrong, they don't get all hyped up. You know what I'm saying? When they hear something like this, oh, it was padding removed from the gloves. They say, no, that's not true. That's not true. You're going to see some type of nervousness. You're going to see them change mentality, attitude, or whatever. You're going to see something. You're going to see some type of sign. But I'm telling you, no. Why would I do that? I mean, come on now. You're not making no sense. This is not true. This is all fabricated, man. It's not true. So if that's not enough, I find myself in danger because I did everything right. My integrity to basically be there at the sparring session, provide John David the sparring partner, go through the whole protocol because I'm not new to this. Both fighters go in there and spar. Incident happened, they continue to spar, get out, you claim the gloves and boom, check the gloves in it, but it's not good enough. Now you want to go out to the car and allegedly brandish something to cause harm on somebody. That's serious concern right there. That's serious concern, real talk. That's seriously something, you know, somebody need to talk with that person. Somebody need to talk to Shields, man. Because you're just going to sit up here and say it's not enough. Because it's no crying. Crying is over if you go stab somebody and they bleed out and they die. What you just did has removed that man's livelihood from the face of the earth. You remove him as being a human being who can operate on his own, functionality, mentality, mechanics, all that, making a living for his family. You taking that away because you wasn't satisfied outside of your embarrassment. You wasn't satisfied. You was embarrassed. It happens in boxing. And then you want to make it a point to say, I got to prove that I'm that chick. I got to prove it. And I'm going to tell you people, Coach Santos is cool people. Cool people. I'm telling you, no way, shape, or form what you hearing out here will come from a coach like that, from a man like that. No way. You know, people gonna be up here saying, "Oh man, you up here protecting." They probably even know I knew Coach Santos. They probably didn't even know. You know what I'm saying? They probably didn't even know, man. They have no idea. He's helped me out in the past with some networking and information that I request. They probably didn't even know, bro, where he even was at. But he's a good person. So that's all I got on that. I'm not going to take too long. I'll be back on a little later, though. You know, shout out to Jessica. Salute. Samuel on deck. Tyrese. Guilty of my Uncle Rucker's voice. Thank you, W says, for the love and helping clear the air. Coach seemed like a cool guy. Hope justice is served. Coach is a cool cat, man. Coach is cool. Mr. International, Toby Bartlett in the building. What's good with it, Toby? Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, some more of the OG on deck. What it do? The Outlaw Pugilist, what's good? Salute to you. Yankee on deck, salute. True Media Boxing Radio, salute. Mr. Gumbo, a.k.a. Hot Grease, my brother, what's good with it? Salute to you, man. Shaw News, the Sauce Experience, a.k.a. Showtime Shaw on deck, what it do? Team Tucker official in the building. Arnold Brown on deck. Y'all hold it down. I'm out. Peace.
Left jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best, you gotta show me son. Actions over words, baby boy, is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come back. Sports, talking way too much, world come back. Sports, talking way too much, world come back. Sports, 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 sports. Subscribe.